Envy in families always seems like a harmless emotion at first. After all, what harm could little sibling rivalry create? But that is till the moment when it suddenly starts to steal the bond of love, freezes the laughter, and stops the genuine smiles that once warmed the hearts of everyone. This is why we cannot afford to act like envy doesn't exist when its symptoms are spotted in the life of any member of our family, because eventually, its claws will dig deep into the fabric of closely knitted families, till all that can be seen is bitterness, hatred, and even blood-red murder. Envy was the unfortunate evil that almost destroyed Jacob's family. Theirs was a large family with a good bond, and even though the sons came from different mothers, there was still peace till Jacob, their father, started to express his love to Joseph in particular. This was probably what triggered the spirit of envy in the minds of the 10 elder brothers of Joseph. His open display of affection for Joseph and Benjamin without minding how his older children felt was definitely a parental flaw that almost destroyed their family and God's purpose for them. That is why as parents, we are meant to love our children equally, but differently, so that the devil doesn't creep in through that negligence to elevate envy in the heart of some children. Envy and hatred are volatile emotions that can spring up in the minds of the neglected ones. Joseph was simply an innocent young man who basked in his father's love and spoke about the dreams God had put in his heart, but his brothers went too far with their actions. They plotted till envy suggested kidnap and murder. This is exactly how envy works. The story is captured in Genesis chapter 37, verses 3 to 32. Now Israel, Jacob, loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a distinctive multicolored tunic. His brothers saw that their father loved Joseph more than all of his brothers, so they hated him and could not find it within themselves to speak to him on friendly terms. Now Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. He said to them, "Please, listen to the details of this dream which I have dreamed. We brothers were binding sheaves of grain stalks in the field, and lo, my sheaf suddenly got up and stood upright and remained standing. And behold, your sheaves stood all around my sheaf and bowed down in respect." His brothers said to him, "Are you actually going to reign over us? Are you really going to rule and govern us as your subjects?" So they hated him even more for telling them about his dreams and for his arrogant words. But Joseph dreamed still another dream and told it to his brothers as well. He said, "See here, I have again dreamed a dream, and lo, this time I saw 11 stars, and the sun and the moon bowed down in respect to me." He told it to his father as well as to his brothers, but his father rebuked him and said to him in disbelief, "What is the meaning of this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers actually come to bow down to the ground in respect before you?" Joseph's brothers were envious and jealous of him, but his father kept the words of Joseph in mind, wondering about their meaning. Then his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem. Israel, Jacob said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flock at Shechem? Come, and I will send you to them." And he said, "Here I am, ready to obey you." Then Jacob said to him, "Please go and see whether everything is all right with your brothers and all right with the flock. Then bring word back to me." So he sent him from the Hebron valley, and he went to Shechem. Now a certain man found Joseph and saw that he was wandering around and had lost his way in the field. So the man asked him, "What are you looking for?" He said, "I am looking for my brothers. Please tell me where they are pasturing our flocks." Then the man said, "They were here, but they have moved on from this place. I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.' So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. And when they saw him from a distance, even before he came close to them, they plotted to kill him. They said to one another, 'Look, here comes this dreamer. Now then, come, and let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits, cisterns, or underground water storage. Then we will say to our father, a wild animal killed and devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams.' Now Reuben, the eldest, heard this and rescued him from their hands and said, 'Let us not take his life.' Reuben said to them, 'Do not shed his blood, but instead throw him alive into the pit that is here in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him to kill him.' He said this so that he could rescue him from them and return him safely to his father. Now when Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped him of his tunic, the distinctive multicolored tunic which he was wearing. Then they took him and threw him into the pit. Now the pit was empty, there was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat their meal. When they looked up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, east of the Jordan, with their camels bearing ladanum resin for perfume, and balm and myrrh, going on their way to carry the cargo down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, 'What do we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood or murder? Come, let us instead sell him to these Ishmaelites and Midianites, and not lay our hands on him, because he is our brother and our flesh.' So his brothers listened to him and agreed. Then, as the Midianite and Ishmaelite traders were passing by, the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and they sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And so they took Joseph as a captive into Egypt. Now Reuben, unaware of what had happened, returned to the pit, and to his great alarm found that Joseph was not in the pit. So he tore his clothes in deep sorrow. He rejoined his brothers and said, 'The boy is not there. As for me, where shall I go to hide from my father?' Then they took Joseph's tunic, slaughtered a male goat, and dipped the tunic in the blood. And they brought the multicolored tunic to their father, saying, 'We have found this. Please examine it and decide whether or not it is your son's tunic.' In Joseph's case, the hatred that came from his brothers affected Jacob physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Genesis chapter 37 verses 32 to 35 says, "And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, 'This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or not.' And he knew it, and said, 'It is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces.' And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted, and he said, 'For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning.' Thus his father wept for him." The end result of envy, even in the best of families, can be disastrous. Gossip, plots, schemes all come together to create a wildfire to affect close relatives and friends of those involved. The results could even go on from generation to generation if its root cause is not addressed. But thankfully, a day of reckoning, open wounds, candid discussions, forgiveness, and restoration came for Jacob's family in the land of Egypt. Joseph, who wasn't killed but sold to slave traders by his brothers, got into Egypt, and by a series of events, found himself in the palace with the solution to Pharaoh's troubled heart. It was around this time that Joseph had the opportunity to pay back and revenge the hurts of the past, when he came face to face with his brothers after so many years, especially because he had become the second most powerful man in Egypt next to Pharaoh, and his brothers came to his doorsteps to seek food for their family during a famine. Genesis chapter 42 verses 1 to 36 says, "Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren. For he said, Lest peradventure mischief befall him. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was the governor over the land, and he it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came, and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said unto him, Nay, my lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. We are all one man's sons. We are true men. Thy servants are no spies. And he said unto them, Nay, but to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, Ye are spies. Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh surely ye are spies. And he put them all together into ward 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the 3rd day, This do and live, for I fear God. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye, carry corn for the famine of your houses, but bring your youngest brother unto me. So shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said one to another, We are very guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child, and you would not hear? Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. And he turned himself about from them, and wept, and returned to them again, and communed with them, and took from them Simeon, and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn, and to restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And thus did he unto them. And they laded their asses with the corn, and departed thence. And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender in the inn, he espied his money, for behold, it was in his sack's mouth. And he said unto his brethren, My money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, What is this that God hath done unto us? And they came unto Jacob their father unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying, The man who is the Lord of the land spake roughly to us, and took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, We are true men, we are no spies. We be 12 brethren, sons of our father. One is not, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. And the man, the lord of the country, said unto us, Hereby shall I know that ye are true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver you your brother, and ye shall traffic in the land. And it came to pass, as they emptied their sacks, that behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob their father said unto them, Me have ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. All these things are against me. He pulled a fast one on them, by accusing one of them of stealing, so as to get his brothers to bring the entire family down to Egypt. Eventually, when all of his brothers were present, instead of repaying evil for evil, he became the source of blessing to his family. Genesis chapter 43, verses 15 to 34 says, And the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand, and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, Bring these men home, and slay, and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. And the men did as Joseph bade. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, Because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us and fall upon us, and take us for bondmen and our asses. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house, and said, O sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass, when we came to the inn, that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. And we have brought it again in our hand. And other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food. We could not tell who put our money in our sacks. And he said, Peace be to you, fear not. Your God and the God of your father have given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. And he brought Simeon out unto them. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house, and gave them water, and they washed their feet. And he gave their asses provender. And they made ready the present against Joseph came at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And he asked them of their welfare, and said, Is your father well? The old man of whom ye spake, is he yet alive? And they answered, Thy servant our father is in good health, he is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, Is this your younger brother of whom ye spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep. And he entered into his chamber and wept there. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself, and said, Set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one to another. And he took and sent messes unto them from before him. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs. And they drank and were merry with him. Joseph opened up to his brothers about how their evil plans worked out for good at the end. When feelings are no more bottled in any family and the issues are confronted, then there is a clear path to healing from the hurts caused by envy. Let us pray. Lord, thank you for showing how important it is for me to live envy-free. Thank you for every member of my family also. I ask in the name of Jesus that every root of envy will be pulled out from our midst, and I declare that the devil will have no foothold to cause division in our midst. Amen.